standing underneath the lights, look into each other's eyes. Tired snowflakes are coming down, collapse into water when they hit the ground. I hear the sound of empty streets. Yesterday has gone to sleep, so all that's left is you and me. I can promise you're the only thing I see. Hold my hand and hear the words I say. Close your eyes and let us fade away. Build a secret place for you and me.
So hey everybody, it's Mickey, and in today's video we are in the kitchen with some great recipes for make-ahead meals. We're going to take a little bit of time and fill that refrigerator and freezer with some really good food to help our weeks fly by. So if you are new here, I hope you'll take a minute to subscribe. I put out new videos every week about all things home. So now we are going to be making some enchiladas. This is my version of enchiladas. I like to use ground turkey, and I like to put a lot of veggies in it. I know this is probably not the traditional way to make it. It's just a way that has evolved for me and my family. So what you're going to need for my recipe is you're going to need some ground turkey. You'll need about a half or 3/4 of a green bell pepper, a red bell pepper, and probably about half of this zucchini, and you're going to chop that up really well. You're going to need about a half of an onion. You'll need some cream cheese, some black beans, and some corn. Today I am using some canned corn, but I prefer to use frozen corn. I just don't have any in my freezer. And you're going to need some taco seasoning. So my enchilada recipe came about from a desire to get my kids to eat more vegetables. We went through a period of time, which I think all parents do, where the kids would not eat a vegetable to save their life. So I would try to hide it in everything, you know, like spaghetti sauce and macaroni and cheese, and just any place I can get it in, I would do that. So that's how this recipe came about. And before too long, they wouldn't eat it any other way. So over time, this was the dish that I would bring to all the school events, you know, like the marching band banquet or track meets or Boy Scout meetings, those kinds of things. And this just became, you know, like my signature enchilada recipe. It's super easy to do, very tasty. And what we're going to do today is we're going to make a small dish of them for dinner tonight, and then we are going to wrap the other half up so that I can freeze them. So in this skillet, I am browning our ground turkey. It's getting right to about the point where I'm going to add our veggies to it. And then we're going to cook them all together until the vegetables are soft and the meat is cooked through. So the meat is all cooked through and the veggies are starting to get soft, and I am going to add the majority of the can of black beans. I have rinsed them to get all the moisture out. We're going to put the rest of it in there. And I'm also going to add some corn. I'm definitely only going to put in half of this can of corn. There you go, about that much. And we'll save the corn for another recipe. So we're going to stir this around, cook this down a little bit more, and then we're going to add our taco seasoning to this, and maybe just a little bit of water. We're going to see how it looks. This is looking really good and it smells so good. So I'm going to add my packet of taco seasoning. You could use one that you find at the store. You could use your own mix, but you're going to need about 3 tablespoons of seasoning. So we're going to add that, and I'm just going to add just a little bit of water to help distribute that through our mixture. This is looking just about perfect, and I am going to add some of the cream cheese. I have this all the way down to low. My cream cheese is still a little bit cold, so I want to have a little bit benefit of some heat underneath of it to melt our cream cheese. So I'm going to start off with half of the brick, mix this up, and see what it looks like. So this is what it looks like when the cream cheese is all melted. I did use about half of that block of cream cheese. Some people like it a little bit creamier, but I think this consistency is just about perfect. We're going to take it off the heat and start rolling our enchiladas. I am all set up here to start to assemble our burritos. I have a 9x13 inch pan. I have some red enchilada sauce. I have some cheese. I have my meat and bean mixture, and I also have some flour tortillas. Now, I think you can also use corn tortillas for this, but I just like the texture better of flour tortillas, so that's what I'm going to be using today. The one thing you want to be sure to do is to spray your pan really well with some non-stick spray, because this can tend to stick to the bottom of your pan. I'm going to add a little bit of the red enchilada sauce to the bottom of our pan here. You can also use the green. My family just likes the red sauce. So we have a little bit in our pan, and we're just going to turn it around so it covers the bottom of it. So I'm sure everybody has their own technique that they use to fold up their enchiladas. This is the way that I do it. I'm sure there's probably a more traditional way to do it, but I just bring in the sides, fold over the front, and then just roll. And then I put it in my pan seam side down. So I have my dish full of my enchiladas. I'm going to pour some more enchilada sauce over top of them, and then I'm going to add some shredded cheese on top. You can use pretty much any kind of cheese for this. You can use jack cheese, cheddar cheese. This just happens to be what I have in my refrigerator. And we're just going to cover the top. Make sure we get each of the enchiladas. That looks pretty good. I might add just a little bit of sauce here in the corner to make sure the edges stay covered. And then we're going to cover this with some tin foil and bake it in a 350-degree oven for about 30 or 35 minutes. So I'm going to show you how I freeze these. I always make a little bit extra so I can put, 1 or 2 into the freezer. So we're just going to roll them as we always do. And then I'm going to take a piece of wax paper. I roll it in the wax paper, and then I roll it in some tin foil. And then I'll put it in a Ziploc freezer bag. I'll also add into the freezer a little bit of the enchilada sauce and some cheese. So when you pull it out of the freezer, you can either just make, whatever's there, or you could take them out individually and cook them that way. So I have my extra enchiladas here all wrapped up. I have some enchilada sauce that I have double bagged in a Ziploc, and I've added these two together. So in a couple weeks, we can pull these out of the freezer and just make these very quick lunch. Let them sit out overnight or pull them out in the morning and they will be just perfect. I've just taken the enchiladas out of the oven. Oh, they look so good. Oh my goodness, they look so good. Now you can serve these on a bed of rice or veggies or a salad. I just like to eat them as is. I'm gonna plate one up for me and I'm gonna show you how I like to eat it. I always use a little bit of sour cream, some salsa, guacamole if I have it. So I will show you how they look when they're all plated up. This is the way I like to eat my enchilada, with a big glob of sour cream right on top. I have a little dish of salsa, a little dish of guacamole, and it is just so delicious. This is one of those dishes that I know that everybody has their own special recipe, so I would love to know yours. Be sure to leave me a comment down below. Let me know how you make your enchiladas and what you might do a little bit differently. I would love to try one of your recipes. So I'm all set up here to make some Italian beef sandwiches here in my crock pot. I have about a 2-pound beef roast here. I have some pepperoncini peppers. I have a little bit of beef broth here, and I have 2 packets, one of Italian salad dressing from Good Seasons, which is my absolute favorite, and some ranch seasoning. This is a great meal to have on hand. It's really good in lunches. It's good like with a bowl of soup or even on its own, and it's really quick to make, and you just cook it in the crock pot and forget about it. So I have a liner in my crock pot, and I've already trimmed up and put my meat in the bottom. I'm going to take my can of beef broth and pour it all over my hand, apparently, and just fill the bottom here with some broth. I'm going to use the majority of this 14-ounce can. Then I'm going to take each of my packets and sprinkle it on top of the roast. Then I have my jar of peppers, and I'm going to put probably at least half of this jar in with my roast here. I got the ones that are sliced because since I'm going to be shredding this and making it into sandwiches, I thought that would probably work out a little bit better, and you can get a little bit of pepper in, every bite. So we're going to add these right on top. Put a few more on there. And then I'm going to take a little bit of the juice and also add that to the top as well. So this adds really great flavor, not a lot of heat, but a lot of really good flavor. Then we are going to add the lid, and you can cook this on low for about 7 or 8 hours, or you can cook it on high for 4 to 6. I always like to start it first on high, and then I'll probably cook it for like about an hour or so and then turn it down to low. So our roast has been going for about, I want to say about 4 hours. That first hour I had it on high and then I turned it down to low. Now remember, my roast was only about a little over 2 pounds. So if you have a larger piece of meat, you're going to want to cook it a little bit longer, but I do think ours is done here. So we're going to see what temperature it's, oh yeah, it's definitely done. It's like 210. So I'm going to turn this off and then I'm going to shred it up. I'll probably drain about half of that liquid and then we'll return the shredded meat back into the pot. I picked up some Italian hoagie rolls and provolone cheese, and I'm going to put this all together to make the best Italian beef sandwich. This sandwich is so good. It has so much flavor, and you can add a lot of things to it. You can make it into a hoagie by adding some shredded lettuce and tomatoes. You can add extra cheese and melt it under the broiler, or you can even eat this as an open-faced sandwich with a layer of melted cheese on top. So next on our list today is to make some pizza sauce for the freezer. Now I make pizza at least once a week. It is no secret that pizza is my absolute favorite food of all time. I've grown up eating it every week. It just has been a tradition my whole life. What I like to do is to make my pizza sauce and then I separate it into Ziploc bags for, per serving size. I like to make a lot of personal pan pizzas, whether I make my own dough or I buy those shells in the grocery store. This is really a perfect way to have a quick meal just about any day of the week. The tomatoes that I like to use for my pizza sauce are the Colavita crushed tomatoes. You can find this in Walmart and they are such a good quality tomato. They have such a fresh taste and they are just perfect, for the sauce that I make. I have all of my usual seasonings that I use for any of my tomato sauces. I have some minced onion here, some dried parsley, red pepper flakes, garlic powder. I have some oregano here. I have my Mrs. Dash. I have some Italian seasonings and a little bit of sugar. This is really basically a simple recipe. Just over medium heat, you're going to empty out your containers of your crushed tomatoes. As you can see, the color is really a nice bright red. That's why I love to use this for my pizza sauce. I just think it is so good. So what I normally do is I add a little bit of water to the bottom of the container here and add that as well. So as far as the seasonings go, I always like to say use what your family really likes. Like my family loves a lot of garlic, a lot of hot pepper flakes, and the Italian seasonings. But your family may not be so into the hot stuff, so really temper your seasonings for what your family likes. So I like to add a little bit of the minced onion. Let's take the lid off of here. The reason why I add minced onion is that onion is one of those veggies that doesn't always agree with me unless it is cooked like really well, like in a soup or in a stew. So otherwise, I just always use my minced onion. I like to add some dried parsley if I don't have fresh. We like a lot of the red pepper flakes in our sauce. My husband even adds more to his pizza every time. Add a good portion of some garlic powder. A little bit of Mrs. Dash. Italian seasonings. And whenever you are doing a tomato dish, I always like to add a little bit of sugar because it really does cut the bitterness and the acidity of the sauce. So this is really to taste. For our pizza, we like a little bit of a sweeter sauce to it. So I guess it's like about a tablespoon of sugar. You're just going to mix this all up, let it come to a soft boil, and simmer it for about 15 minutes. The pizza sauce is cooking away on the stove, so I'm going to prep our bags here. I can usually get about 4 good-sized servings from this recipe, and I just use regular sandwich bags. These are not even freezer bags. This is never in my freezer long enough for it to be an issue. I just write on here pizza sauce and the date, and I stick it in the freezer. It usually lasts me about 2 weeks. So my pizza sauce is all done. I have it off of the heat. I have a little mason jar here on a paper towel, and I'm going to go ahead and put my Ziploc bag inside there. I just fold over the edges, and it helps to, get all the sauce in there. So much easier. Then I just spoon it into the bags.
Tired snowflakes are coming down, collapse into water when they hit the ground.
I zip it closed, lay it flat, and let it cool. And then I'll just add it to my freezer. We're in the mood for a little pizza. I just need to pull one of these baggies out of the freezer, grab a Boboli pizza shell or one that I've made on my own, our favorite toppings, and you have a meal like in 15 minutes. I like to pile on the veggies on my pizza, and this sauce is the perfect base for any topping that you want to try. So thank you all so much for watching today. I hope these recipes gave you some ideas of what types of things you can make to get a head start on dinners for the week. I would love to hear about your favorite make-ahead recipes in the comments section down below. I think it would be really fun to try some of your favorites. Join our communities over on Facebook and Instagram, and please don't forget to subscribe. I would love to have you all back as part of our YouTube family. So until I see you in that next video, I hope that you love the life that you have, be kind to each other, stay safe, and I will see you again soon. Bye!
The walls are listening when we talk, making echoes as we walk. There's no one left but you and me. It's like a made-up place that only we can see. Hold my hand and hear the words I say. Close your eyes and let us fade away. Build a secret place for you and me. Let our minds be caught up in a dream.